Hi folks, how you doing? So my lighting is kind of bad. I got a big shadow on this side of my face. I need to turn on some light. I don't know. I need a camera person, and this way there's too much light. Let's see here. Wow. This is a lot of light, but the lighting's better. Oh, anyway, so I have my I Am Loved Carbone Strong shirt on. I posted today, if you noticed, a video on Shena Strong that is about scanxiety and instead of anxiety, scanxiety. And I have an upcoming PET scan August 11th, and I am already having anxiety about it. I need to learn how to cope and deal better with this. The Yoga for Cancer class that I'm taking at the UW hospitals and clinics is helping. I really believe that, but the key to it is putting all of that into place as you're moving forward. And then the other thing is I'm just worked. I've spent the month of July working a normal schedule as full-time as I could here at the Galleria. So I'm putting in 40 hours a week, not all open. I have so much to do. As a lot of you know, I've been tackling while the store was closed in January and February of this year. I had people bring in 2 storage units and part of an estate sale. So there is a lot of items in here, plus what consigners have brought in. And since my return from surgery, since I was healed and I took off enough time to ensure that I didn't get sick, that I wasn't hospitalized with an infection, because the goal is I wanted to be here. And that's one of the things as a cancer patient, and especially as a business owner who is a cancer patient, is how surviving through this moment has occurred. And I'm working by myself. So I decided that in January and February that it would be more cost effective as a brick and mortar business owner. And that I have the kind of business where, I can work the store by myself. So I worked what hours I could throughout the spring. I don't want anybody to have false expectations. So I keep a sign on the door that says I'm open varied hours. However, I have been keeping my regular hours of working on Mondays from 10 to 5, 10 to 3, 10 to 5. So during the winter, and while I was still recovering from surgeries and heavy treatments, I only worked from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. on the days I was open, and I was open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So, and working a lot by myself. But I did that minorly. I couldn't lift a lot or do a lot, so I've been stuck with all of this stuff around me. And that's one thing that you don't see in a cancer patient's life, is what is put on hold. And over 50% of cancer patients have to stop working. I believe I read, don't quote me on that statistic, but it is at least half. And most, if not all, have to reduce their hours. And that has been very tough. But anyway, I'm coming back during this month of July, where I'm working a lot. And before cancer, I was the kind of person that was used to cranking out 60, 80-hour weeks, and not out of burden, out of love, because I love what I do, and building and growing something, and working through the challenges of, taking over a business, working through the challenges then of the pandemic, then working through the challenges of cancer. And, to some, my story may seem tragic, and trust me, at times it has really, really, really felt tragic. But what I have learned is that it hasn't been tragic. I mean, I just got done, I completed a month ago, I have a dragonfly stuck in the store. For those of you who don't know, I get all these weird flying objects stuck in here this summer. Birds, I had 3 of them in here this summer. But anyway, let me back up and go to what I was talking about. So you do these things because you love them. Working is in your fabric. And if you're an entrepreneurial spirit, you're always generating ideas. You're always coming up with new things. You love working for yourself. And you literally jump out of bed every morning and go do it. And for me, battling cancer, what has been the hardest part for me is it's really difficult to jump out of bed simply because your body will not cooperate. And then what happens then is it leads to a depression. And you have a hard time coping and dealing with that because that's not your regular modus operandi, your MO. That's not how you usually serve your functioning in this world. But I am tired, and I'm happy though that I have been pushing myself every single day. And for those of you that come into the store, you know that I've been working on this tremendous pile of clothes in the back of the store since the beginning, or since the end of February, April, when I was cleared from the doctor to tackle this pile of clothing in the back of the store. So many of you know that. And so I've been working really hard at that, but I'm excited. I want to do some live shows. I have some really nice clothes in here, so I'm glad for that. The first time in a while I brought a lot of new clothes in, but the energy's not there. And I've been working pretty, what I can work comfortably full-time hours. I've been working 9 to 6 on Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. I did toss in there in the month of June some Sundays I was open, and I enjoyed that, and those were fun days. But this has been interesting seeing where my energy level is. And last night I ended up going to bed really, really early, and I laid down for a nap at like 5:00 p.m. and I woke up at 11. I thought I would be up all night long, and I ended up going back to sleep and sleeping until 7 o'clock. So my body is really feeling this, but what I'm trying to do is to stay patient through it. If you follow me, you know last week was just a really, really bad week for me. I was having a rough week. It felt like everything was coming down on me. I had spent the first day of the week last week getting all of my Department of Workforce Development stuff in order, which was really great because, once I went through it, the blessing in this is I am really getting to know the inner workings of the way I do business on out. So, and an associate of mine said, never trust anybody else with your money. And and so often throughout my business career, all throughout my business career, I have trusted others with my money, whether it be those that I pay for their time, whether it be those that do bookwork and accounting work, whether it be those that prepare my taxes. Since the age of 14, I have always had somebody else do tax preparation, bookkeeping for me. And so this is the very first time in my life that I really have to quiet there, Jack. We're at the store, and they just ran around playing. But this is the first time, and and it's really hard for me, and it really stressed me out, and that stress was not good for me, and that stress led to a depression. But now, as I sit on the opposite side of it, when I buckled down, when I learned how to do it, when I taught myself how to do it, I was not going to despair, and I was not going to give up. So I figured out how to do it. And, all I can say is just, keep track of things. I use a couple of programs that make it easy. Square Payroll, I've used that since I began hiring employees and contractors. And then I also do consignment. So I use a program called Quail, and it's Quail for Consignment. So it's an orange circle with the bird, the quail in white in it. And that works really well. So luckily I had kept good records, because I really, for those of you that have been watching, I put this stuff on the back burner for quite a while. So, simply because there was pandemic, and then cancer. And now, I mean, it was almost very discouraging, but I'm glad that I have stepped on this side of it. So I've just completed several years of taxes. I'm up to date. I got up to date on all of the Department of Workforce Development filings. So if you're in business for yourself and for whatever reason you have fallen behind, whether it be the lack of financial resources to continue with somebody that regularly does something for you in your business, or whether it be an illness, because I'm not the only entrepreneur that has had cancer. I know that. I watch Coach Mo fall a lot. She's a cancer survivor. So you can survive and thrive through that. But I'm tired. But I still, inside, I have that spark to keep going. I feel like I've really learned some really deep inner workings of my business. I've learned some hard lessons in business, and it's good. And being here and being behind in where I feel like I should be, I've had to learn to accept and be okay with. I've really been working on acceptance. So I see a trauma therapist, and in therapy we are working on acceptance of all sorts of things. So I didn't want much. I just wanted to come on here and encourage you. So, like I said, this is the Shena Strong mission and project is a documentation of the good, the bad, the ugly of all that goes on. I can't always come on here and be rainbows and unicorns, and I can't always hide the days that I'm not rainbows and unicorns. I gave you all my word that I would share with you what this journey's like and what I've been through and what I'm going through. So I am standing here before you today and letting you know this part of it. So you may have seen me last week. Last week was a down week, a discouraging week. But through it all, I also persisted and I got a lot of stuff done. And because of that, I feel that a weight's been lifted. I also developed a physical illness. I had a skin infection. And now that all of this is done, I'm healing. So there is obviously that mental physical connection we all know of. And for me now, it needs to be more acceptance. The Yoga for Cancer class is helping. And I also find being patient with myself and knowing that I am going to be tired, that I can go home. And guess what? That housework is going to have to wait a little bit. If that's the way it is, so be it. Because I am back doing something that makes me happy, something I love. And it feels so good to have this return to somewhat normalcy. And I'm looking forward to what the future brings. And I'm surely not giving up.